Hello, my name is Clayton, and welcome to episode 104 of the Watch Dog podcast. I'm a professional dog runner and watch enthusiast talking to his pals about dogs and watches. How is everyone doing? Thank you so much for listening. You know I appreciate it. Wow, this is like the fourth episode I've done in a week. Feel like all I do is record podcasts lately. But yeah, like I said, I missed a couple Saturdays, so had to make it up to you. We're all caught up now, so hopefully we can stay on schedule with one every Saturday morning. Hopefully you get it Saturday before noon Eastern time. I am recording before getting on the road to head to New Jersey to hopefully go to my authorized dealer who I work with in New Jersey. Haven't actually been there in person in over 2 years since I got my Air King. So can't wait to see the person I work with there and check out some watches. Not sure I'll be buying anything, but you'll get an update on my authorized dealer visit here in a future episode. And then tomorrow, going to the New York Jets game with my brother-in-law. They host the Indianapolis Colts at MetLife Stadium. Probably going to be some bad football. Was originally scheduled to be a Sunday night football game on NBC. Both teams are bad, and it got flexed to Sunday at 1 p.m. That's fine with me. I'm driving home directly after, so I'll get home at a halfway decent hour, hopefully, instead of the middle of the night like I would have before. But yes, can't wait to tailgate. Supposed to be in like the mid-60s. Going to be a gorgeous mid-November afternoon. Probably a little warmer than it should be, but I'll be excited about that anyway. Don't have to bundle up and freeze my ass off in one of those hard plastic seats. So can't wait. I'll give you an update on the game, my authorized dealer visit, and everything else that happens over the weekend, hopefully next week. Okay, main topic time. I have to get on the road here, so I have to stay on task. No more dilly-dallying. I went to a wrestling show last week with my friend and his son. It was a surprise birthday gift for his son. He just turned 8. Should come as no surprise to anyone that a kid who's 8 years old and his dad and his friend in their mid-40s have the exact same interests. Our maturity level kind of tops out at about, 8 or 9? That's as good as it gets for the rest of our lives. Only difference is now in our 40s, we're kids with money. So we can go to wrestling events instead of watch them on TV. We went to All Elite Wrestling, AEW. Their show called Collision airs on Saturday nights, I think at 8 p.m. Eastern time on TBS. We went to a taping. They taped it on a Thursday and it aired last Saturday. AEW is the second largest promotion to WWE right now, but their popularity is waning a little bit. Attendance is down. Television ratings are down. So a couple months ago, when we found out Collision was coming to Providence, we started to keep an eye on tickets. A lot of times you buy through resellers, kind of like watches, right? Tickets get bought up and then sold on the secondary market, hopefully for a profit. The scalpers do this. Same with limited edition watches. They get bought up and then they go on eBay. And at first they ask ridiculous prices, but as time goes by and they don't sell, the prices come down. That's what happens with ticket prices for events also. So we started to keep an eye and we're like, well, let's wait. Attendance is a real problem with AEW right now, and I think we can probably get really good seats for pretty cheap. So we start keeping an eye, like every few days, every week, we look at tickets and they're progressively coming down. And we realize we can probably get like ringside for not too much money. And it ended up that, yes, we were right by the ring, right next to where the wrestlers come out for $120. And that's after fees and everything. So it was probably right around $100. And then, of course, they get you with like $20 worth of fees, right? So we give this kid an amazing 8th birthday. We slap hands with a bunch of wrestlers. We get pictures taken with wrestlers, and we are right in the action. I mean, many times when they fought outside of the ring, we were right there, leaning over as they were pummeling each other or pretending to pummel each other, depending on how you feel about wrestling, right? But yeah, it was a long night of action. They taped a show before Collision started, And then after Collision started, I think wrestling started at 7:30, and we didn't get out of there till about midnight. So a solid 4.5 hours of wrestling. Got pictures taken with some of the talent. It was just a really fun night. We were all kind of buzzing as we walked out of there, even though we were a little upset that it went on so long. Mario and I wanted to leave, but his son, this is my birthday, damn it, we're not leaving. He still had to get up for school, but at that age, you just don't care about that stuff. When you're in your 40s and you have to work in a few hours, it's not so fun to stay up that late, for me anyway. But it really was a great value. For $120, we got tons of action, pictures with wrestlers and with announcers. They walked right by us. And, an 8th birthday that this kid will remember for a while anyway. Good value. Awesome night. Usually when you go to live events, they gouge you for beer, for food, for all that stuff. But rarely do you leave an event like that, whether it's a game, a concert, whatever it might be, feeling like you got your money's worth. We really felt like we got our money's worth that night. And of course, that got me thinking about good value when it comes to watches. You hear that thrown around a lot, right? Oh, that watch is great value for the money. What does that mean exactly? So I thought I'd explore some examples of quote unquote good value when it comes to watches, and maybe some of the trade-offs that come along with that as well. And good value can be subjective, right? For some people, it's a $100 homage or copy watch that has sapphire crystal and an adjustable clasp. And for others, it's a $25,000 tourbillon. All depends what end of the pool you play in. All right, so let's get started. I want to start with homage watches, actually, copy watches. I think the value prospect is what draws people to these watches. You get a watch that looks like a Rolex without the baggage, the authorized dealer games, and of course the price tag. You can get a watch that looks like a Submariner, down to the dial, the bracelet details, the clasp details for $150 instead of $10,500. Of course, that's the main appeal. As long as it has sapphire crystal, that micro adjust clasp, we don't care that it looks like something else. We don't care that it's derivative, that it's design theft. I'm not going to get started down a big road here of why I don't like these watches. But that's what draws people to them. Good value. And you have channels like Just One More Watch, Just the Watch, who show these watches almost exclusively now, right? And cater to that audience that's looking for specs over anything else. And there's a good portion of watch people that are into that. And I think that's awesome. Whatever gets people wearing a watch on the wrist, I'm all for. Tends to be people at the beginning of the watch journey. I've talked about before when I first got in, this watch was what I was drawn to because I watched a lot of Jody's videos and other, value-minded YouTubers. I watched a lot of those channels. So, yeah, I wondered why people would spend $500 on a Seiko that has mineral crystal and crap bracelets when I can get, an Addie's Dive Willard Homage for like $88 that has sapphire crystal, loomed bezel. It eluded me. And only once I got more into the hobby and learned more about these brands did I discover, specs aren't everything for me. I actually like originality and ingenuity. Brands that were trailblazers when it came to design and functionality. And these brands just trying to rip them off, that's not cool. That's not what I'm into. But yeah, I owned several homage brands exactly for that reason. What are some of the trade-offs with these brands? I remember the first Pagani design I ever got. It was, 11/11 just passed. That's the big AliExpress sale, November 11th. And Jody every single year highlights some of his favorite deals for 11/11 on AliExpress. I got a Pagani design November 11th of the very first year I was into watches. And I remember getting it. It was a chronograph. I actually don't think it was derivative of any particular design. Maybe like a Tag Carrera, possibly. I didn't know that at the time. I think I got it for like $45. It had a Seiko Mecha Quartz movement. Good value, right? I put it on, and 5 minutes later, literally 5 minutes after putting it on, the crystal fell off. Boom. fell off. And that has been my lasting impression of these watches ever since. They're good value unless you buy like 15 of them. And I see people on Facebook and other groups who just buy and buy and buy these watches. And if you buy that many of them, I don't think they're such a good value anymore. No one's going to buy them from you, and they fall apart. Now, a lot of people are saying brands like San Martin are, and some YouTubers, again, like I talked with Keith, I think some of these YouTubers are on, the payroll for brands like San Martin, or maybe have management positions in San Martin on the down low and just don't want to tell us that because, boy, they really stick up for these brands. I mean, there's one YouTuber who says that, San Martin has Grand Seiko level finishing, even did a video comparing San Martin to Rolex and, spun it in favor of San Martin. I mean, it's just, anyway, I'm not going to get started on that. But yeah, so I still don't trust it. I just think these watches are eventually going to fall apart on you. They're not going to have any intrinsic value when you go to sell them. And one might be fine, but 15 of them, I just don't think it's a good idea. Personally, I don't mean to turn anybody off here. I know I'm probably coming off a little bit harsh on these watches, but yeah, those are some of the trade-offs with the homage and copy watches. They're going to fall apart on you. Who's really going to buy them if you need that money back? And yeah, if you sink too much money into them, you're probably better off getting something that's going to last, something that you can have serviced, something maybe with a warranty. I mean, when one of these San Martin watches inevitably has issues, I mean, you're going to trash it, right? You're going to throw it away. You're not going to get that serviced. Whereas, saving money and buying something maybe $500, $1,000, a watch that, has a little bit of history, has a few-year warranty, you're more than likely going to get that serviced when it breaks down. But with these homage and copy watches, maybe not so much. The next place we look for value, I would say, is pre-owned watches, right? I talk about Topper pre-owned all the time. Incredible deals. I mean, they've always had incredible deals, even during the pandemic when watch prices were crazy, but especially now. I mean, you can find some real bargains, and they offer 10% off of each pre-owned watch. If something is $450, you take $45 off of that. If something's $4,500, you take $450 off of that. Really a tremendous deal. And you can work with them also. If you email about a watch, they may take some more off. If a watch has been there for a while, they lower the prices gradually. I talked about that with my Moser. I bought that pre-owned from Topper. The price went down and down and down until it got to a point where I thought I could probably make it work with consolidation and a little cash on top. But yes, pre-owned watches, whether it be private sellers as well. Like I talked about in the Watch Fears episode, do your due diligence. Be careful buying from Facebook or the forums or anywhere really that, isn't a quote unquote trusted dealer. Just be careful. Ask for references. Look at seller ratings, like on Chrono24. I've talked about that before. Look for the 5-star reviews on sellers on eBay. Just be careful. Pay in PayPal goods and services if you can. If you don't know the person, it's an extra 3%. Pay that because that protects you. If you buy friends and family, you are not protected. If you get scammed, your money's gone forever. With goods and services, there's a paper trail there and you're protected. So just, be careful. But some of the trade-offs with pre-owned. You don't really know an accurate service history. This watch, who knows, especially if you're buying older watches, you have no idea when this watch was serviced. Condition. Anybody can take pictures and make a watch look better than it is. Pictures rarely show scratches very, very well, depending on lighting. If the lighting's not right, and many of these photos in sale postings are not very good, right? You can ask them for detailed photos. That's another red flag. If they will not send you detailed photos or, the hands at a certain time to prove that they actually have ownership of the watch, walk away, right? Condition isn't a huge deal to me. The worse condition it is, the better price I can get. I don't really care about that too much, but yeah, you want to make sure it hasn't taken any major bumps, doesn't have any major gouges or anything like that. Pre-owned watches are going to have scratches. They've been worn in most cases, right? Sometimes people have Safe Queens that they're selling, and those will be in fairly good condition. But, if you're buying luxury watches, it might be a concern with, more affordable watches, but definitely with Rolex and other watches, you want to make sure they're not over polished, if that matters to you. If you don't care, then you don't care. That's fine. But, if you're looking to make sure you get a good deal and, keep resale in mind as well, if you feel like you might want to move on from that watch sometime. It happens with, even neo vintage Rolex. You can tell they're over polished. Look at the edges of the case, near the lugs. There are signs that the watch has been over polished. Kind of hard to tell in photos. Ask them, have you had it polished? Do you know if it's polished? Do you have service history on this watch? Buying vintage can also be a minefield, again, if you care about that, right? They could be a Franken watch, and you want it to be priced accordingly. If you don't care that it's a Franken watch, that's cool. Just don't overpay for a watch that's priced like it's original when it has Franken parts, right? This happens a lot with Seiko Pogues. They're redialed. When I'm buying a vintage watch, I stay away from vintage for the most part, but I want it to be as original as possible. I just feel better about it if it's original as possible. I really don't like modded watches. That's not my thing. I know a lot of people who are into that and mod them, like to have a watch modified, like to have, a Seiko Turtle or Seiko Samurai to have a sapphire crystal and other modifications, maybe, lume enhancements on certain watches. I'm just not into that. If I want better lume, I'll just buy a watch with better lume. If I really want a watch with a sapphire crystal, I'll just buy a watch with a sapphire crystal. I don't really care about modding. If my Citizen Pro Master has mineral crystal and halfway decent lume, that's what I was expecting. That's the watch I bought. That's the way I want it to stay. So yeah, just be careful. Good value again with pre-owned watches, whether we're buying new, neo vintage, but again, do your due diligence and be careful because sometimes things aren't always what they seem. What else do we consider good value? How about extras when brands include, straps? Maybe they include a spring bar tool. Maybe an authorized dealer throws in some swag. That's good value, I think. If I can get a watch with 2 extra straps and a bracelet, that's incredible. I feel like more and more luxury watches should come with an extra strap. That's one thing I like about the FXD. It came with the hook and loop strap, the Velcro strap, which I think is okay. But then they throw in a rubber NATO with it as well, which I think is great. If you're paying $4,000 for a watch, I don't know, they should throw in a strap. It doesn't really cost them all that much. Oftentimes brands do the opposite though. Instead of including an extra strap, they will charge you an arm and a leg for an OEM bracelet. Rubber strap, leather strap, NATO strap. I mean, Omega NATO straps are what, $200? I mean, they're nice. I had one with the No Time to Die. I bought the bracelet aftermarket, which was a terrible mistake. I mean, I bought it from the authorized dealer, but after the fact, it was like $1,400. Beautiful titanium mesh bracelet, but ultimately it did not wear well on me and was the main reason I sold the watch because I couldn't wear it with anything else. I didn't want to wear it with anything else because damn, it's just so good looking, but the clasp dug into my wrist so much that it just hurt. So I couldn't wear it. But yes, there are thankfully many alternatives that are good value. You can buy aftermarket bracelets for many watches on sites like Uncle Seiko. It used to be Uncle Seiko. It's Uncle now. There's so many aftermarket vendors. I don't have to go into all of them here, but that's often where good value is. Bad value is buying, an OEM rouleau bracelet from Breitling. I am so happy I was able to get one as part of my Lions Watch deal. But yeah, if I wanted that bracelet and I bought it directly from Breitling, it's probably over $1,000 just for that bracelet. I don't know if there are any great versions of the rouleau bracelet that you can buy aftermarket from somebody like Uncle. but or Forstner or something like that. I have no idea. Authorized dealer swag can be really great sometimes. Sometimes you can just blatantly ask for it. Sometimes they'll give it to you. I remember when I bought my Seiko SJE 093, I got a Seiko Prospex water bottle, a can opener or bottle opener, and a portable speaker that has Seiko 5 on it, which is awesome. I got t-shirts, I've gotten hats, I've gotten pens. I got a Breitling helmet from their Topper NFL event when I bought the Detroit Lions Breitling. So yeah, that's kind of fun. Extras are good value. They make you feel better about spending thousands of dollars when you can get some free stuff in return. Where else can we find good value? How about like blowout sales? Amazon Prime Day. I mean, 50% off of brands like Citizen, Casio, maybe some Seiko in there, Bulova, that kind of stuff. Wow, what a good deal. 60% off of this Citizen that I don't need and that I'll never wear. But we're tempted just because the deal is so good, we can't pass it up, right? The deal was so good, I couldn't help but buy it. Black Friday's coming up in a couple weeks. There's going to be some tremendous watch sales. I think Long Island Watch every single year, he makes like 2 weeks of videos highlighting some of the sales before Black Friday. I think it actually starts on Thanksgiving Day. There's going to be a lot of temptation there to buy watches we don't really need or we didn't think we needed, but once we see 50% off, 40% off, whatever it might be, all of a sudden we have this desire and we can't stop thinking about it because the deal is so good. Hodinkee, a lot was made of them getting out of the retail business, and when they closed the Hodinkee shop earlier this year, they had some incredible, crazy deals. That Mito Hodinkee limited edition GMT, I mean, that was already a good deal, I thought. Speaking of good value, I mean, it was a Traveler's GMT. I think it's a Traveler's GMT. I might be wrong. Comes on a mesh bracelet, and then it came with 2 leather straps. Limited edition from a really good brand like Mito. I think it was only like $1,200 or $1,300 at retail. I mean, that Hodinkee blowout sale had that watch for, I think, like $700, $800. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's somewhere in there. Don't quote me on these prices. I'm in the ballpark anyway. I mean, it was unbelievable. Some of the deals that they had on their limited editions, you might say that devalues their limited edition. They just came out with a Hodinkee Chopard limited edition yesterday. That's like $37,000, 36 and some change. I know when they're discounting all of these limited editions, I'm not sure what that says about the future value of a Hodinkee limited edition, but that's another episode for another day. But yeah, blowout sales, they make us want things entirely because of the deal, and I think that's the trade-off. We shop too many of these sales, and we end up with a bunch of watches that we really don't want. We bought the sale instead of the watch, and I think that's where we can get tripped up. I don't really succumb to that anymore, but boy, there was a time when I certainly did. When I was in my impulse buying phase, man, I bought the deal over the watch many, many times, and then I ended up with a bunch of watches I ended up selling for a loss anyway. As I'm maturing as a collector and refining what I like, I don't really fall prey to that too much. But yeah, yesterday, I mean, G-Shock came out with a Black Friday edition G-Shock that was 50% off. And it's tempting. I mean, you know, I got the email, I got the text message, and they just barrage you, right? Any form of contact they can have with you, they make. Text, email. I mean, they're going to call on the phone pretty soon. Hey, it's Chris from G-Shock. Just wanted to let you know this is on sale, blah, blah. You know, that's going to happen soon enough. They bombard you. So, yeah, it's out there. The temptation's there, but make sure you actually want the watch. I mean, that's what I do anyway now. But, oh, yeah, 'tis the season for a lot of sales out there, and they can offer good value, but it can be a trap as well. I wanted to talk about something that's not often thought of as good value, but there is value in it, and that's buying brand new from the authorized dealer. Especially now, like Omega new at retail doesn't seem like a great value proposition. They've raised their prices. You know, a Sapphire Sandwich Speedmaster is $8,000. I know when I bought my Speedmaster in 2021, I got a healthy like 15% discount. I have heard from several people that Omega has really, tightened up on that. They don't offer big discounts anymore. sometimes you hear that people are still getting them, and sometimes you hear that people are denied. So I don't know exactly. I've not bought an Omega since that watch. So I have no idea exactly where discounts lie. But I know a lot of brands are tightening up on the discounts offered because the watch market's tough right now. The economy's down. Costs have gone up for these brands, and you're seeing it in price hikes. But I contend that it is still valuable to buy brand new at an authorized dealer once in a while, even though even Rolex prices have gone down. ID Guy just released a video yesterday talking about several Rolex models that you can find, gasp, under retail on the secondary market. Just a couple years ago, that was unfathomable. The gravy train days of the pandemic were here, and, gosh, even the Air King, when they thought they were going to cancel the Air King, those prices skyrocketed. Now you can get that watch, the brand new one, under retail. Crazy world we're in right now. If Rolex is struggling on the secondary market, just imagine what Omega's doing, Grand Seiko's doing, Breitling. So why on earth would you buy these new? For a few reasons. Getting a relationship with an authorized dealer can be valuable. And it's not just to get watches, to get hard to find watches, kissing ass to get a Rolex that you want. Sure, there is that part of it. And I think a lot of people willingly play the game because they want a Pepsi sometime down the road. They want a Daytona down the road or some other really hard to find at retail Rolex models, right? So a lot of people play that game. But becoming friendly with an authorized dealer, I have like 3 really good authorized dealer relationships right now. I have a friend or 2 at Topper. I have a friend at my authorized dealer in New Jersey that I'm going to later on today. And then I have a local Seiko dealer that I'm friendly with that I text with all of these people, all 3 of them, quite regularly. And it's not just to get access to hard to find watches. That's part of it probably. But I really like being their friend. It's more watch friends because in our day-to-day life, there are not too many people that want to hear us go on and on and on about watches all day long. And in these people, even though they are trying to sell you something, I'm not naive to that fact. And I'm also trying to get something out of them, right? A better price, hard to find watches, whatever it might be. But you still have a friend with an interest in common, a common interest. Not every authorized dealer is going to be into watches, but luckily the 3 friends I have are super into watches and collect themselves. So they are really knowledgeable and they're geeks just like me. So I love texting with them weekly, monthly, whatever it might be. That can also come in handy when you have a problem with a watch. These are little mechanical marvels. They break. I've talked about it before. I bought the new Breitling Aerospace Orbiter in May. Immediately noticed it had issues. My authorized dealer felt so bad. I sent it to her. She sent it to Breitling. 2 months later, she messaged me and she said, listen, it's still in Switzerland. I have no idea how long it's going to take. I feel awful about this. I want to give you a refund if you're willing and you want a refund. I'm more than happy to do that for you. I feel so bad. And I took her up on it. And that probably doesn't happen if I don't have a good relationship with her. I've had a couple issues with watches I bought from Topper. Some new right out of the box. And because I'm friendly with them and I was cool about it when it happened, I didn't call and berate them. I understand. One of the reasons I love watches is because they are small mechanical marvels. Small mechanical devices like watches can break. They get bumped in shipping, whatever it might be, they can break. And I get that, and I'm cool about it. That's part of the risk of loving these watches, right? So when you're cool about it, when you're a cool customer, you get great customer service. And Topper has always taken care of me in that regard. Same with my Seiko guy. So I think there is tremendous value in getting a relationship with an authorized dealer. A lot of us buy pre-owned. A lot of us buy from secondhand dealers only and don't buy new, and they feel like that's where the value is, and that's cool. And then they don't have relationships with authorized dealers. I think it's really valuable, and I'm so happy that I have a relationship with a few. I'd like to add a couple more on that list. All right, I know there's good value in a lot of other areas I didn't talk about, but I thought that's a good way to highlight what I consider to be good value and what many watch enthusiasts consider to be good value. What do you think good value is, and where do you think it lies within the watch hobby? Your buying habits, what you're into, what you're not into. Please let me know. You can send me a message on Instagram, a text message. This is released as a YouTube video. You can leave a comment there. I'll be sure to respond as soon as I possibly can. Feel free to leave me a 5-star review. It helps the podcast grow, and I appreciate it more than you could ever know. All right, we'll see you next week on episode 105. Take care. Have a great weekend. I'll speak with you soon. See you later.